Hello everyone, this is Adam Wyatt, AKW Analytics with BullBear Analytics, and welcome to our first live session, more of an educational approach to the markets, specifically Bitcoin. And today, per request, we'll be talking about Fibonacci analysis, which is pretty important. It shouldn't take too long, but if everybody likes this kind of format, then we'll do more of this in the future with more preparation and more examples perhaps. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and do screen share, and we'll take a look at the Bitcoin markets. It's a good day to do it. Okay. Now, hopefully, y'all can see this, and it's not messed up like frame in frame like it was just a second ago. But anyway, as we can see, the rally has persisted throughout these supply areas and up into our OTE zone. So many of you might be asking, maybe, what is the OTE zone? Well, OTE is a concept developed by Inner Circle trader Michael Huddleston. You can look him up on the internet. He's a long-time trader who's come up with a lot of kind of novel concepts in the forex space. One of these being the optimal trade entry, or OTE, and it's based off of Fibonacci analysis. Now, he didn't invent the Fibonacci part of it. He just put it into use as a kind of a practical tool. But Fibonacci analysis has been done for a very long time in financial markets, and if you look it up, you'll find that Fibonacci numbers and sequences exist all throughout nature, which is also informative in our trading, because markets are natural, and they respond to natural systems just like other things do, and this can inform our trading. So here we have a 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, and we have our OT box here. Well, how did we get that? So let's go ahead and just take that off here for now, and we'll go over to our Fibonacci tool. First of all, we want to look at the Fibonacci retracement, and so the idea here is to try to find sensitive areas on the chart where buyers or sellers might be more or less likely to step into the market. And knowing that nature, people being a part of nature, respond to these levels in nature, these Fibonacci levels, then again, that can help inform our trading as far as certain levels to just at least look out for, to be on watch. So in this case, we have a bullish market, a nice frying pan bottom down into what was the previous medium-term OTE long zone. And when we're coming up approaching resistance, what we want to do is find an area where we could take profits or get short. And we do that by taking from the price from the very top, the very high that we see on a given time frame, and running it down to the low, down around here. You could even do in this supply area down here, the demand area down here, because there was a lot of more action down here, a lot of accumulation. But to keep it simple, we'll just go with the low right here. And so let's drag that out in time and see what we get. And you can see that where we had that red box is right in here in between the 61.8, the 0.618, which is the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, and the 76.4. We like to use the 78.7 or 79% Fibonacci retracement level for this upper bound, but this is the default. We're just using the defaults right now. And you can see in between these two levels is where we had that box drawn. And we'll just draw it back right here real quick. And you can see that we're right at the top of it right now at about 455. That was the high. And we're coming down off it. No surprise, when you hit the top of these zones, you'll get some sellers come in because they're typically looking at the same thing. So why these levels? Well, I'm not really sure, but this is typically, if we study markets, and we'll look at a couple others, you'll notice that price tends to retrace either up or down. So if we had a large down move, it would trace back up into the sweet spot, and vice versa, as is the case here. And we'll have price move back up into this Fibonacci area here. And so what that means is that we want to be looking for signs of resistance, signs of failure, momentum divergences, overbought conditions, in order to confirm whether this could be a potential top or not. Now, given how price is just ripping through this thing, already went through the sweet spot. The sweet spot would be considered right dead in the middle of this rectangle here. and already is popping back up all the way up to the top. This is a pretty bullish sign, so we wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we get a pullback down to these institutional EMAs here around 430, 435 perhaps. But then they might rip this thing up through the OT up and then into this supply area here off of this order block. And we can talk about that another time in another video. But anyway, so that's kind of how it's looking right now in Bitcoin. Again, the Fibonacci numbers, it's not all that important to know why price or humans or nature respond to these particular levels, but they do. And so let's look at another example. Given the S&P was down significantly today, it might be good to take a look at that just to have a kind of an inverse comparison to the Bitcoin chart, because Bitcoin's going up and the stock market's going down right now. So here I'm bringing up a chart of the S&P 500. This should delay data, but it should be updated because it's end of day right now. You can see we had an OTE drawn down here to target the downside. And boy, look at that end top. That's ugly. So let's go ahead and get rid of this here. And we'll draw our levels. Let's go ahead and get our fib retracement back out here. And so just like, you know, on the Bitcoin chart, we went from the high to the low. Here we'll go from the low to the high. Right in here. And we'll grab our rectangle and we'll put it, delineate our OTE zone here. Okay, so just like you would be looking to sell or take profits on your longs, up here, you're looking at a different market that's headed in another direction, then you might be looking to cover your shorts here, or maybe get long, maybe buy some. And given that you have a pretty big demand area down here, and the bottom of the channel is kind of rising up under us right here, this might be a good place to look for long, but that gives us a lot of room to drop. We wouldn't be surprised maybe next week they fill this gap and then bring it back down in here into OTE. Again, that not necessarily this is where the trend is going to reverse, or it's necessarily going to pop right here, but this is an area that you should watch for, a critical area, a critical price area that is going to provide you with some information when you watch price action when it gets down into that area. And then another thing that we can do with this chart is talk about the 38.2 retracement, which is a level that's not quite as critical as the OTE zone, but it's a level all by itself that can be very informative. And in fact, it kind of in between the 50% and 38.2% can be informative in that if price holds this level, so you can see that on this last dip right here, the 38.2 held, and we got a nice strong rally off of that. This is a bullish sign, 38.2. And likewise, if we're going the other way, if we're in a bear market and it wants to break higher, but it can't break above that 38.2% retracement level, then that's a bearish sign. So this is kind of a confirmation level. So if we break this 2,000 level, which is also a psychological level, that's going to be key. Then you could see a precipitous drop down into this 1970, which is the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, and then ultimately we will be targeting around this probably 1900, right on the dot. That would make another series of higher highs, higher lows, which might be bullish going in the beginning of next year. We're not bullish necessarily in the stock market, but again, we've said for some time that a spike up to new nominal highs to allow the institutions to get short this thing before it really tanks hard in the second half of next year. That might be something that they do. So anyway, this is going to be an area to watch. The 50% level is always pretty key. Again, you just want to watch price action around that level to see whether the bulls or bears have control is essentially what you want to be looking for. But again, if you're more interested in the Fibonacci numbers themselves, how they came to be, what they are specifically, and what other implications they have throughout other natural systems, then I recommend maybe Googling, doing a little research about Fibonacci himself and his mathematics, because they're widely used and just widely occur in nature. So we'll do one more of these, and I'd like to do it. You know what? We can just do it back on the Bitcoin chart, and that's extension. So we did the retracement part. So you have the retracement, Fibonacci retracements, which is where you want to be looking to OTE, and to the 38.2 level for confirmation, and then watch your price action around the 50% level. But there's also Fibonacci extensions, which you can use to try to inform your decision about, again, when to take profit, when something might be hitting some kind of numerical natural resistance point. So if we're on the chart here, and let's say we're looking in this area right in here, right after this spike to new highs, up into the supply area, and now we're just consolidating here, and you go, this really looked like it wants to go higher after some kind of pullback, but how high could it potentially go? And hopefully I'm doing this right. I haven't used the extension in quite a while. See, that's not right. Let's try something else. Let's go back to the retracement. So we want to go the other way. There we go. So these are the extensions right here. Let's just go ahead and take this across. And see, we have a real interesting area here. And it looks like this is it right here. So again, if we're in this, we've been through a long consolidation. We break out to new highs. Everybody's really bullish. We start to pull back. You go, man, is this the continuation of the bear market? Are we gonna be able to get out of this thing and push it higher? And you go, okay, well, where's some levels that I might want to take profits if I'm getting long in here? I have a stop set down here, maybe at the 200-day and SCMR dynamic support. But let's say I'm buying here, but where do I want to target? Where do we want to run it up to? And so you can see here that the first level that's showing by default is the 61.8, 161.8, so the 161.8% of the move that we're trying to look at. And you can see that somewhat informed our decision to take our long off around 435, 436, is because this was an OTE, an extension area, and there were some things on the shorter term chart as far as momentum indicators that made us a little bit cautious. And you can see we ripped right through this thing again, so this is telling us that it might be reaching up here for that 480, 500 area. But again, if you're looking to target, and you can use this one on the downside, just do the inverse, and you'll be able to find the 161.8, the 261.8. And again, you can add levels here. The more you learn about Fibonacci, the more you can customize these levels, tailor these levels to your trading style to give you a little bit more of an advantage. But that's it for now, I believe. And let me flip back over here and see if anybody has any questions. All right, so I'm back. So unless anybody has any questions, which doesn't appear that there are at this point, we'll finish up there. You can ask questions. I'll be on the chat for a little bit right after this, where you can ask me some questions, and I'll post this on YouTube so people can go on there, and I'll enable comments so you can ask questions if you have any questions about any of this material, and I can get into it in a little bit more detail. But again, let me know in the chat if you guys like this, and if so, I'll do some more structured stuff in the future with more of a game plan and more concrete examples, historical examples going back to the past for a bunch of the principles that we use, if y'all want that. So anyway, hope everybody has a good weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Cheers. Bye-bye.